Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got our NBA predictions here for Friday, January 17th. We've got 9 games in the association today, and we're going to predict all of them like we've been doing every single game here with the NBA here in the 2024-2025 NBA season. Before we get into the video, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions here on the channel. Earlier today, we posted our 5 college basketball best bets, and if you want to see 10 college basketball best bets for tomorrow's college basketball best bets video, make sure to leave a like on that one. If we get 100 likes on the college basketball best bets video for today, and you guys want to see 10 best bets, we're going to do that for you tomorrow for that large Saturday slate in college basketball. Also, our NFL predictions are up on the channel. That was posted yesterday for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Also, our UFC 311 predictions are up on the channel as well. Islam Makhachev, Arman Tsarukyan, the rematch for the lightweight championship of the world in Los Angeles, California. Okay, on to the first of our 9 NBA predictions for today. We're going to start off in Boston for the Boston Celtics and the Orlando Magic. I'm going to take the Celtics here to win and cover the 12.5 points. This is a much-needed game for the Celtics. I think nothing's a must-win game because it's January, but it's a game that the Celtics need to get back on track. If you watched our college basketball best bets video today, I'll compare this kind of to Indiana, but not to the same extent. Obviously, the Hoosiers, their coach needs to win today, or they're going to get fired, or he's going to get fired. Obviously, Joe Mazzulla is going nowhere here with the Celtics, but they're coming off their worst loss of the season. They go to Toronto, they go to Canada, and they lose to the horrible Raptors. I'm not going to mince words on that. The Raptors aren't that good. Boston went to Toronto and lost 110-97. It was just a pitiful performance. And of the Celtics, a team that's regarded as a top 3 team in the league, which I still think they are, have now lost 3 of 5 going into this game with the Orlando Magic on ESPN, right? I think they're going to figure it out in this spot. Orlando also is still very injured. Orlando is still without Goga Bitadze, he's out. Franz Wagner looks like he's close to coming back, but still not back yet. Gary Harris is out, Jalen Suggs is out, and Jet Howard is out. Again, yes, Banchero is back in the lineup. That obviously is a big boost for this Orlando team, but Banchero can't do everything coming off this injury with the injuries around him as well. Again, their bench is now just lacking without these bench guys who have to play in the starting lineup, right? Anthony Black now has to start for Jalen Suggs. You get Wendell Carter having to start for Goga Bitadze. So their bench unit now becomes, Cole Anthony, Jonathan Isaac, Tristan De Silva. They don't got Jet Howard. So again, they are very thin in the bench right now. That's why Boston's probably going to win this game, because ultimately that's where the Celtics are going to take over. It's with their depth, and it's just with their ability to play more guys in this game or play more high-level players in the Orlando Magic. Again, when Orlando is having to play extended minutes for guys like Banchero, for KCP, hell, for guys like Jonathan Isaac off the bench, Boston's just going to be able to rotate their guys the entire basketball game. Hell, it's simple math, but it's true. Boston just has more rotation guys active today than the Magic do. Again, the Celtics have the better starting lineup as it is. Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis. But on top of that, you add the bench unit, who is pretty solid as well. We're talking Peyton Pritchard, who scored 20 points in the Raptors loss, led the team in points. Sam Hauser, who's capable. Al Horford, Luke Cornett. Again, these guys are capable off the bench. But again, you add that in addition to the starting lineup. It's just a really tough out here in this game, and really tough ask for Orlando to win it. I like the Celtics pretty easily in this spot. And yes, we do expect them to cover the double-digit spread as well. Give me Boston minus 12.5 at home against the Orlando Magic. Let's move on to our next game. We go to the other Garden, obviously the Garden, Madison Square Garden, for the Minnesota Timberwolves and the New York Knicks. I like the Knicks in this spot. Dante DiVincenzo is not going to be playing this basketball game for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He does make a difference, right? They inserted Dante into the starting lineup instead of Mike Conley recently, and DiVincenzo has been very good for the Timberwolves, the second half of the year so far, right? If you split the season in half, like the second half of the year, DiVincenzo's been a lot better than at the beginning of the year. Regardless, no DiVincenzo tonight means Mike Conley steps back into the starting lineup. And again, it's just a lack of depth for Minnesota, because who now comes on with the second unit? Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid, obviously. It's just, they're not all that deep now. Again, I'm not saying, Dante DiVincenzo is the single reason why the Timberwolves aren't winning the basketball game, because hell, I take the Knicks regardless. We took the Knicks in their first encounter when this game was played in Minnesota. So obviously we're taking the Knicks again. And Minnesota's coming off that loss to the Warriors. I'll say it's a bad loss. They were trailing the entire game. They came back at the very end, but it was, it wasn't too little, but it was too late. Well, no, it was too little too late. It was a close game, but the Warriors, Curry, it's a big three at the end, and the Warriors were always playing from ahead that entire game. Minnesota was always trailing. So the Warriors came out with the victory, and that's a loss, again, that the Timberwolves just took against an ice-cold Warriors team. That's a game that the Timberwolves were expected to win at home. It was one of those spots where we're saying, hey, you got to bury the Warriors here, and Minnesota was just not able to do it. Again, Ant gave it his all, scored 28 points. Gobert just didn't have a great game. It's just, I think the Timberwolves are outmatched in this spot as well against the Knicks. Karl-Anthony Towns is questionable. Guys, Cat's going to play against his former team. Trust me, he's going to play this game. Towns had 32 when he went to Minnesota the first time around, and the game that the Knicks on December 19th blew out the Timberwolves. They won the game 133-107. Cat's going to play this game. Cat put up 32 and 20 in the first encounter. Trust me, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to give it a go. And for as much as I've said, the Knicks are kind of questionable, they are. In a big-time spot in a big-time game at the Garden against Karl-Anthony Towns' former team, Julius Randle returns to the Garden. I think the Knicks rise to the occasion. I think they do, right? This is what Thibodeau's built for. Big games. Just one. Not a series, just one. Just one big game in the regular season. Seriously, that's what Thibodeau's built for. He's going to play his guys 38 minutes tomorrow, and the Knicks will come out on top. I think New York gets it done. They went to overtime a couple nights ago against the Sixers, had a day off. They get 4.5 here at home against the Timberwolves, and I think they get it. Give me the New York Knicks at home here to win and cover against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Next up, we move on to Miami, Florida, where we should see the return of Jimmy Butler. That's why I'm fading the Heat. That's why I'm taking the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, I know. So I guess Jimmy's not suspended no more, right? The Pat Riley suspension's over. I think Jimmy's playing. I think. He's still not traded. He's still in Miami. Pat Riley's not going to deal with this crap, so he's going to keep him around. Is Jimmy's still a starter? I guess. I mean, it helps the Heat. Don't get me wrong. It helps the Heat a lot, but how is this going to work? It's just, I don't know, just chemistry-wise, team morale-wise, he's just right back into the starting lineup like nothing ever happened. And again, if there's anybody who's going to be able to deal with this, it's Pat Riley. Let's just be honest. I'm not trying to glaze Riley too much, but personally, he feels like the only competent, GM/president in the NBA. He's the only guy who doesn't take any crap, I'm not taking a side of the Jimmy Butler thing or not, but it's just that's the one guy who could probably figure it out, Pat Riley. He's been through everything. Hell, the guy played with Jerry West. He was around when Jerry West was a head coach. He was around when Jerry West was a GM. He was around when Jerry West was a player. He dealt with the whole Jack McKinney thing. Yes, I just watched the Winning Time thing, the Winning Time show on HBO. But regardless, that's why I'm kind of high on Pat Riley now. But anyways, I appreciate Pat Riley a lot more than I used to. That's all I'm saying. That's the one thing that the HBO show did really well. It makes you appreciate Pat Riley a lot. But I think the Nuggets go into Miami and win as long as Nikola Jokic plays, though. So I'd stay away from betting this until you know Jokic is playing or not. Because the Nuggets are just a different team when Jokic doesn't play. When Jokic plays, they can beat anybody. When Jokic doesn't play, they're a bottom 10 team in the league. That's just how much Jokic makes this team. Which might lead you to say, that means Jokic is the MVP. Possibly. But is his team in first? No, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's Oklahoma City Thunder, so. But yeah, if Jokic plays, the Nuggets are just a different team, right? He didn't play the Rockets game. They lose the game by 20. Jokic is so, he's such a big part of this team, obviously, because he doesn't just score. He rebounds. He obviously, facilitates. He play makes. You need Jokic in the lineup. Hell, the guy averages a triple-double. So if Jokic plays, I think Denver does go on the road and beat Miami. If he doesn't, I'd expect Miami to get it done. Even with Jimmy coming back and everything surrounding that, I still think the Heat will get it done if Jokic doesn't play. But if Joker plays, all day give me the Nuggets to go here on the road and win this game against the Heat. It's all dependent on Jokic, though. So for now, we're taking Denver at plus money, but I'd wait. Again, yes, I would eat it on the line. Because if Jokic doesn't play, this your bet's screwed. All right, so I'd wait to see if Jokic plays or not. Sure, I think Denver will probably become a minus maybe 120 favorite, but I think it's worth it just waiting to ensure that you get Jokic because right now he's questionable. We'll see. So give me the Nuggets for now. If Jokic doesn't play, then sure, I will take Miami. Let's move on to our next game. Has all the makings to be a blowout, and we kind of expect this game to be a blowout. We go to Milwaukee for the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors. Toronto just beat Boston, but the Raptors, and we've said it all year long, they are just a much different team in the country of the United States than what they are in Canada. I could be wrong, but I think they've only won one game in the United States all year. Yes, it is. They've won one game. It was on the road in New Orleans against the Pelicans. That is the only game in the United States the Raptors have won all year long. They finally, won some games in 2025. Actually, they beat the Nets on New Year's Day, but then they beat, obviously, Golden State and Boston in back-to-back games. Who would have thought? But now Toronto's got to go on the road. Again, they are just different on the road. They can't win on the road. They got to go to Milwaukee, who, again, it feels like the Bucks have been underperforming all year long, and we'll just say it how it is. That's what's happening. They are underperforming. Now, recently, they've been really good, obviously. They have won 5 of 6, with the only loss being that game against the Knicks, where they went to New York and got blown out. But back-to-back victories on a doubleheader against good teams, and the Kings and the Orlando Magic. Giannis and Dame, obviously, they are leading this team. They are willing this team. Giannis with 31 a night, Dame with 25 a night. And again, as long as those guys have half productive nights here against the Toronto Raptors, they should be able to win. I would be damned if the Raptors win 3 in a row. I just would. And again, Toronto looks so much different in the United States than they do in Canada. They are a horrible road team. They got to go to Milwaukee. I'd expect the Bucks to win this one fairly easily. Give me Giannis and Dame at home to win. And yes, in the process, they will cover the 11.5 points as well. Again, I said it earlier. This has all the makings to be a blowout, and that's what I think it will be. So give me Milwaukee to win and cover the 11.5 points as well against Barrett, Dick, and Barnes here with the Toronto Raptors. Let's go into a game now between two 10-win teams. Yes, the New Orleans Pelicans have now found their way to 10 wins on the regular season, so shout out to them. The Pelicans have actually been playing really good basketball, which means they are now minus 800 favorites. Whatever you do today, do not bet Pelicans minus 800. Don't include it in any parlay. Do not include it in anything. Yes, I think they win, but that might be the dumbest bet you could ever take. I'm serious. Sure, again, I expect them to beat the Utah Jazz. The Jazz have a bunch of injuries. I'll get to them in a second, but I would not touch minus 800 with anything. Don't touch it. And honestly, would I touch the Jazz plus 12.5? No, I wouldn't either. That's my pick, but would I bet it? Oh, hell no. Just stay away from this game, guys. Let's go over the Utah Jazz's injury report. All right, Clarkson's still out. Taylor Hendricks obviously out for the year. But here comes John Collins, still out with the hip injury. Micah Potter out with an illness. Johnny Juzang out with a hand injury. Lauri Markkanen out with a back injury. And now, no Walker Kessler. He is out due to rest. So who does that leave Utah? Keontae George, Colin Sexton, Cody Williams, Bryce Sensabaugh, Kyle Filipowski. Oh man, Isaiah Collier off the bench, Drew Eubanks off the bench, Svi Mikhailuk off the bench, Patty Mills off the bench. Oh, yikes. I do think they still covered 12.5. Utah's a sneaky, decent team that can compete. Will they beat New Orleans? No, probably not. They are too injured to do that, I think. But hell, the last time Utah was really injured, they were very competitive against the Charlotte Hornets. They didn't beat Charlotte, but they only lost the game by 5 points. Huge night out of Keontae George. He gave Utah 26. They were injured going into the Nets game, and they won that game in overtime, obviously, with the Isaiah Collier game winner. And Bryce Sensabaugh, again, has kind of broken out, but kind of gone back to what Bryce Sensabaugh was at the beginning of the year. Isaiah Collier has been playing better basketball. Like, these young guys have been showing out. Hell, Drew Eubanks has been pretty solid and pretty productive this season as well for Utah. So that's why I'm going to take the Jazz to cover the 12.5 points. I just think it's too much for the Pelicans. Like, sure, the Pelicans are winning games, but they're not blowing anybody out just yet. The last 3 victories were by 3 points, 6 points, and 8 points. They're not blowing out these squads. And sure, again, wins on the road in Philly, Chicago, and beating Dallas at home, those are impressive. Again, DeJounte Murray with a big night, finally, 30 points in the Mavs win, right? Trey Murphy's been good all season long, right? You get Zion back. DeJounte's questionable for this game, but I think he'll give it a go. He's going to go. Brandon Ingram might be his last game out for the Pelicans. He might be able to return on Monday against the same Jazz team in New Orleans. So again, he's getting closer to coming back as well. The Pelicans obviously not a playoff team this season because there's just too many games out at this point, but New Orleans has been playing much better basketball. They have potentially the rookie of the year in Yves Missy, who I don't think he's going to win it, but it's probably going to go to Edey, I think. But give me the Pelicans to win and the Jazz to cover, but final thing in this game, just don't bet it. Too much stuff that could happen in this game. And yes, I think the Pelicans win, but they should not be a 10-win team should not be a minus 800 favorite against anybody. They just shouldn't, unless they're playing like a high school team. So give me the Pelicans to win, the Jazz to cover, but I'd just stay away personally. I wouldn't get close to it. Next up, we go to the Charlotte Hornets and the Chicago Bulls. I mean, high-level basketball being played right here. Give me Chicago to win and cover the 4.5 points. The line feels a little bit weird, and obviously that's due to the Bulls' injury situation. You've got Kobe White, who's probable, so he'll be fine. Josh Giddey's questionable with right hip soreness. Dosunmu is probable, and Taylor Horton-Tucker is questionable. So ultimately, I expect a lot of these guys to play. And honestly, as long as Zach LaVine's playing, Kobe White looks like he's going to give it a go. Vooch is playing, Patrick Williams is playing, Lonzo's playing off the bench. I think the Bulls are fine. Charlotte, sneaky competitive basketball team. They are very injured as well. They have a bunch of guys who are questionable. No official injury report, but Brandon Miller and Mark Williams are questionable to play this game, obviously. Nick Richards was just traded from Charlotte to Phoenix, so obviously he's now out of the rotation as well. They add Josh Okogie, but I don't know if Okogie's going to play his first game for Charlotte. It's not like Okogie was putting in big minutes for Phoenix this year. He's averaging 6 points a game. Obviously, Okogie will be a part of the Charlotte rotation somewhere. But I don't think Okogie's going to make his first in-game appearance for Charlotte in this game. And if he does, I wouldn't expect Okogie to do anything crazy. I'm a little confused. Charlotte's getting this much respect in the line. Minus 4.5 for the Bulls, obviously plus 4.5 for Charlotte. But at the same time, I get it. They're coming off a victory against the Jazz. Very injured Jazz team, though. They were competitive in back-to-back games against the Suns, dropping the second one, winning the first one. But I think the Bulls win. Again, the Bulls, yeah, they've got a bunch of guys in the injury report, but a lot of these guys are expected to play this game. And Chicago should just be able to get into a shootout with Charlotte, and I'd expect them to win it. I really would. Zach LaVine's been playing great ball all year long, obviously. Last time these two teams faced off, the Bulls won in overtime, but they won the game by 7 points. The first time they played, they won it by 14 points. So Chicago's covered this line in both their games this year against Charlotte. They went on the road and did it once. They won the game at home the other time. So I'd expect the Bulls to do more of the same. I like Chicago in this spot. They're barely hanging on to a play-in right now, a play-in berth. So give me the Chicago Bulls to win at home and cover the 4.5 points against the Charlotte Hornets. Let's move on to Dallas, Texas for the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Dallas Mavericks. The Thunder opened a minus 5.5 favorite. They are now a minus 7.5 favorite. And what happened yesterday? I said it was going to happen. OKC was going to go on the road. OKC was going to win at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers, even without Isaiah Hartenstein. Impressive, man. I mean, what can I say? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 40 points through 3 quarters. The guy is just that good. They imposed their will defensively against the Cavs, and they won the damn basketball game. Shout out to the bench guys stepping up. Jalen Williams, both Jalen Williams obviously were both in the starting lineup, but now, again, Arkansas Jalen Williams had to start, and he only played 14 minutes, but still, it's an all-around group effort out this Thunder team. Hell, you got 33 minutes off the bench out of Aaron Wiggins. That's just kind of what he does. Alex Caruso's playing. I mean, everyone's coming off the bench and helping out for this Thunder team. Second half of a back-to-back. Now they got to go on the road and play the Dallas Mavericks. It's not that scary of a Mavericks team considering their injury situation. Kyrie Irving questionable to play with the back injury. Derek Lively already ruled out for this game, and obviously Luka Doncic has been out and will continue to be out, and obviously not playing this game against OKC. So I get it. It's kind of a rough spot for the Thunder. They just played yesterday, but think about it. Their starters did not have to play the entire fourth quarter. The game was a blowout by then. It was over. So Shai, both Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe, Isaiah Joe comes off the bench, but Cason Wallace, and Lou Dort, these guys didn't have to play deep in that basketball game. So they should be fine on a second half of a back-to-back. And Dallas just isn't, they're not fully healthy right now. I don't know if Kyrie is going to play, but think about it. The Mavs have lost 3 in a row. They went on a 5-game losing streak from December 28th to January 6th. Obviously, they break it by beating the Lakers on a second half of a back-to-back, whatever. They beat Portland, and now they've dropped 3 in a row again, though. Back-to-back games to Denver, and then the Pelicans on the road. Daniel Gadford led them in scoring back-to-back games with 13 in the loss loss against the Nuggets, and 27 in the loss at the Smoothie King Center against the Pels. But now OKC comes to town. And even without Isaiah Hartenstein, they're still the best team in the NBA. Why? Because they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think this is a blowout with or without Kyrie. The Thunder are that good. The Mavs will not know what to do. They're not going to be able to score against this Thunder team. Again, they play relentless defense, and I think OKC shuts down the Dallas Mavericks. Give me the Thunder to win on the road, and yes, they will cover the 7.5 points as well. It gets even better if Kyrie doesn't play, and even if, again, Irving does play, I still expect the Thunder to win and cover the line as well. All right, now on to the other game in Texas today. We have got the Memphis Grizzlies going on the road to play the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, these two teams just played 2 days ago, and the big highlight of that game, obviously, is a play that didn't count. The Ja Morant poster over Victor Wembanyama. Was it crazy? Yes. Was it great? Of course. But it didn't count. But still, that's going to be the highlight of that game. That play is going to be replayed for years to come. Oh, remember that time when Ja posterized Wemby, but it didn't count? That's going to be replayed for years and potentially the next decade, because again, 2 superstars of the game, and it's crazy, right? That's the best dunk we've seen on Wemby, and hell, Edie had a pretty nice dunk against Wemby as well, but the Ja one was absolutely insane. I don't know why the NBA continues to do this all year long, and obviously, again, we've said this, we've talked about this scenario like the Grizzlies and the Spurs are in tonight, but we've talked about it so many times this season. I just don't like the back-to-back scheduling. It's just, they're playing in the same location, and it's just, we just saw this game, and now it's on ESPN. Like, again, sure, it could change. The Spurs could win the second half of a back-to-back. Or not back-to-back, but, back-to-back opponents, or they're playing the same team twice. I know they got a day off in between. Yeah, San Antonio could win it, but odds on the Grizzlies win the second game as well. I mean, nothing really changes. I get it's basketball. It's not like, oh, these are just NFL teams and they're playing back-to-back weeks, right? Or this isn't like a fight and, oh, these guys are fighting 6 months apart. Like, what changes from the first fight? I get that. But it's just, they literally just played 2 days ago. And Memphis was winning. Memphis was in control of that game. They won by 14. They just pulled away in the second half. Like, I think Memphis is the better team. I get the games in San Antonio. Wembanyama had a pretty bad night, but got to give a lot of credit to Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson, right? I mean, the bigs were able to clamp down on Wembanyama that entire game. They made it difficult on Wemby, and maybe, again, the Grizzlies have a formula. Again, the Grizz are good, man. The Grizzlies are a good basketball team. They're number 3 right now in the Western Conference, obviously behind the number 1 seeded Oklahoma City Thunder, and then the Houston Rockets, who, of course, the one time we picked them last night, they lay an egg in Sacramento. Actually, they didn't lay an egg. They didn't lay an egg. They played a good game. They did. I'll give them credit. We lost that one, but Houston did play a good game. I'm officially done hating on Jalen Green. Jalen Green's a baller, man. He's a good basketball player. You're not going to hear me say another bad thing about Jalen Green for a very long time. I'm serious. I mean, that guy, didn't hit the game-tying shot at the end. That's fine. Jalen Green played his ass off yesterday in Sacramento. He really did. I think Memphis is good, though. I think they're better than San Antonio. Again, you just compare starting lineups, let's just be honest. I mean, hell, Memphis got Ja, Desmond Bane, Jalen Wells, Jaren Jackson, Zach Edey, and the Spurs are still trotting out CP3, who again is good for this basketball team, but CP3, Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, Harrison Barnes, Victor Wembanyama. I mean, what team should win this game? Obviously, Memphis. Again, Wemby was a little bit of a non-factor in the first game. Wemby goes 5 for 19 shooting in 37 minutes, 13 points. Sure, it's still 12 boards, but that's not, the Wemby dominant game that the Spurs usually play. And again, sure, a lot of credit's got to go to the bigs of Memphis. It does. And Zach Edey, obviously, who does foul a lot, but didn't foul in this game, right? Like, I think Edey handled Wemby fairly well in that game. And again, this game's just 2 days apart. I'd expect Memphis to win it again. The only thing surrounding this game is that Ja Morant is questionable with right foot soreness. I'd expect him to go. It's a nationally televised game. I think they're going to try to push him to play this one. And I think the Grizzlies win. So again, the only reason the odds are where it's at right now is because Ja is questionable. Maybe Vegas knows something we don't, but I think the Grizzlies should be able to get it. -2.5, -135. Even without Ja, I think they still win, but obviously we like it a lot more if Morant's playing. So give me the Grizzlies to go on the road and win their second consecutive game here in San Antonio against the Spurs. Let's move on to our final game of the night, and we go to the Crypto.com Center, obviously Los Angeles, California, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Brooklyn Nets. The Lakers will beat the Nets. If they don't, I don't know what I'll do on the channel tomorrow. They better. It'll be a damn shame if they don't beat the Nets. Brooklyn's still very injured. We'll see if Cameron Johnson gives it a go. I'd assume they're playing the Lakers. Cameron Johnson's going to play. No player who's ever questionable against the Los Angeles Lakers actually doesn't play, okay? Guys, the Nets get to go to Staples. Yes, I'm still calling it Staples. They get to go to Staples and play the Lakers once all year long. You know damn well Cam Johnson's playing this basketball game. All right, Cam Thomas, I believe, is still out. He doesn't have a damn choice. Trendon Watford and Bojan Bogdanovic are still out. But Cam Johnson, who is Cameron Johnson, who's probably the best guy still in this Nets team, damn well he's going to play this basketball game. And guys, I can see it now. D'Angelo Russell's going to score 30 points. He's just going to. D'Lo is going to have a crazy game. It's like when Norm Nixon returned to play the Lakers when he was on the Clippers and he scored 30. I don't actually know if that happened or not. It was in winning time, and I just wanted to mention it. By the way, I loved Norm Nixon's character in that show. Why the hell did that show not get renewed? It's ridiculous. No 85 finals. What are we doing? Anyways, I can see it now though. D'Lo's seriously going to score 30. He's going to. It's just it's going to happen. But still, the Lakers should run away with this basketball game because beyond D'Angelo Russell, what do the Nets have? I vaguely remember Nick Claxton playing fairly well against Anthony Davis last season. Zaire Williams, obviously. Cameron Johnson's probably playing. Cam Thomas, I doubt, is playing. So, that either puts Keon Johnson or probably Keon Johnson in the starting lineup unless they go Simmons and Russell, but they'll probably play Simmons in the second rotation. Obviously, again, Simmons has been out, but he's back now because he's playing the Lakers. But again, I'm not too scared about this Nets team at all. They're 14-27. The Lakers do have some injuries of their own. DFS is doubtful with the personal issue. Jalen Hood-Schifino never plays. LeBron probable, AD probable. That's all you need to know. I'm serious. This is the type of game the Lakers should be winning by a lot in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, and Bronny should get some time. I'm serious. Bronny should be able to score this game. I hope. All right, that's what I'm hoping to see watching the Lakers play the Nets tomorrow. They should cover the 11.5 points. Would I bet it personally? Again, my rule is usually, unless I really like it, I don't bet over 10-point spreads because just so much stuff can happen. I wouldn't bet it personally, just because, again, it's a different environment when you go to the Lakers and play. Guys just show up and they play out their mind. But yes, the Nets did just lose 126-67 2 nights ago against the Clippers. They did. This is one of the 11.5s I consider taking. Personally, I probably won't play it. I'll just watch it as a fan because, that's my team. But yes, if I had to say, I will take Lakers minus 11.5. It should be a blowout, and again, it should be the type of game where Bronny's able to get some run at the end. So give me the Lakers to win and give me Los Angeles to cover the 11.5 points as well. And expect, I don't do player props on the channel, but whatever D'Angelo Russell's over is, take it. I guarantee you he's going to hit it. It makes so much sense. D'Lo's going to go over today. All right, folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA predictions here for January 17th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.